Okay, good morning, everyone.
Good morning, sir.
Everyone is good?
Good morning, sir. Yes, sir.
Good morning.
Good
So,
morning.
good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Happy Raksha Bandhan to everyone.
Same,
So,
same to you, sir.
thank
We
you.
should the same.
Thank you. So, last couple of classes, a couple of means around 4 to 5, 6 classes, 6 to 7 class. How many classes happen so far? 7, right? Including 7th. Today is 8th class, including introduction session. Okay, let me first start from yesterday. Continue from yesterday what we have discussed so far. Then we will have the quick rewind from beginning what we have discussed. So last day we talk about antivirus, right? Antivirus and VPN, difference between VPN and proxy, right? Now you understand, right? To access free website, to access any application which are blocked, right? People use this VPN or proxy, right? The main use of, so sometimes, the digital marketing people also will use the VPN. Use the VPN to showcase that, for example, I want to search Splunk training on the Google, right? I'm searching Splunk training on the Google. So Google understand that the person who is doing the search is from which location based on its IP location. IP belongs to India, so it will give the result of Indian website first, most of the time, right? See, you will rarely see means majority of the time whenever you're searching any services you want to shop, right? You will see the result of local website. Sometimes you will see the outside website also, but majority of the time it will show the local website. Get in mind? Because search engine will understand that, okay, I belongs to India, so it will show the local result. Get in mind? Now, if I want to search, when I'm searching Splunk training, my website coming on the top in India, right? But we are doing SEO activity, search engine optimization activity, marketing activities to other locations, also USA, UK, South Africa, other location also. So I want to see whether my website is coming on the top there or not, coming on the search or not. So whenever I'm searching, it will show the Indian result because my IP belongs to India, right? So I have to tell Google, showcase to the Google that my IP is not from India, my IP is from USA. If I want to showcase the result from USA, how people will search and whether they will see SIEM XPERT website, on the first page or not. So in that case, I have to change my IP location, right? Then in that case, I can connect to the USA VPN server. Get in mind? Once you connect to the USA server, so there are some VPN like Express VPN. So you can buy also, free also available. You can buy also, right? So you have option which country server you want to connect, even which city also. The paid VPN services, they will have multiple server in different city, because there might be possible that in Mumbai in India separate result. Oh, क्या हो गया? अच्छा लाइट हल्की सी ब्लिंक हुई है ना. अच्छा हाँ, what I was saying, साउंड हुई है. Guys, mute your mic please. अरे ये तो लाइट सर्वर में प्रॉब्लम हो जाता है कभी कभी. हाँ, so what I was saying, may be possible that in Mumbai when you are searching a different result you get, because in Mumbai based IP, in Bangalore you may get different result, right? So if you have city based VPN servers also, right? In USA, which city? New York, Washington, right? Which city you want to select VPN server, that also you can select, right? So now once I connect particular, for example, New York, USA, New York, so my IP location will belongs to New York. Then in that case, I will, when I will search, my search, this USA IP will go, New York IP will go on the search, and I can see the result. Nowadays, Google is using two parameters. One is IP, so VPN, by connecting to VPN, you will have the USA IP. And second thing is takes your location also. It asks, right, select accept location services, right? So in this case also it will be problem. Your IP is showing to USA, but your system is showing location as India. Then again it will show the Indian search result. Get in mind? Because your physical presence in India. By default, your laptop has enabled, your mobile has enabled the location and showing India, so it is showing India result. Then you have some app like fake location, some other apps are having. Through some other app, you can select which location you want to show to the Google. Means you can make Google fool. That means you can fool Google, right? And showcase, okay, IP you selected on USA, New York, and location also you select on same, and then search, you'll get the right result, right? That is being used by the people who does not even understand what is VPN, but they are using VPN. How VPN works, they do not know, but they are using VPN for this perspective to showcase their IP location. Get your mind? So that is another use of VPN. In the company, we use for remote access, right? People working from the from home, they can connect to the VPN to the company and access their resources, right? As well as site-to-site, this is SSL VPN. The remote access VPN or SSL VPN we call as. Another VPN is site-to-site VPN, using which two offices can connect. But in that case, both the offices need the VPN devices to be connected with each other. Understand? So that was the VPN and proxy that we have discussed last time. So now you understand that for endpoint device, we have antivirus, we talk about firewall, we talk about email gateway, right, for email security. Now one more devices you will see on the network, which is again a very popular device, which works on layer 3, 4 also, and layer number 7 also. That device is anybody?
IPS and IDS, sir.
That's correct. IPS, IDS. So ideally, see, this firewall is layer 3, layer 4, right? That we understand IP address also and port number protocol also. IP address means routing, layer 3 means this firewall can do the routing also. But why do we have a router and then? Right, see, ideally placement of the firewall, gateway firewall is behind the router, right? Once you take the internet connection, it will be terminated on the gateway router, on the gate, right? Behind the gateway gateway router, you will have a firewall, right? But some company may terminate directly internet connection on the firewall. That also you can do, like in lab environment, we have terminated the connection directly on the firewall. We have not used router to terminate the connection. Why? Because this is a small company, right? So what happens is router works is do the routing, and firewall main work is do the security filtering, right? So in the big company, you have different HRs, right? Recruiter is different, operations are different. Yes or no? So 5-6 category of HR you'll have. And a small company, one HR will do everything. A big company, if one HR will do everything, it will be overloaded. He will be overloaded, he or she. Similarly here also, if device will do the routing also, filtering also, right? Means more utilization of the resources. A small company, both can be done, but a big company, we should have separate people, right? So let's router do the routing and let's firewall do the filtering, right? So that is the ideal deployment for the enterprise environment, big companies, right? Gateway, you'll have a router, and behind that, you'll have a gateway firewall, perimeter firewall, right? One more device that you will see on the companies that we call as IPS, IDS. IPS or IPS and IDS. IPS and IDS. IPS stand for? IPS stand for?
Intrusion prevention system.
Intrusion detection system.
Intrusion detection system and intrusion prevention system. IPS means intrusion prevention system and IDS means intrusion detection system, right? So this device, IPS, IDS, is one device only. Is one device only. Either IPS or IDS, right? It's a one device, but different mode. These are different deployment mode. Either you can deploy on the IDS mode or you can deploy on the IPS mode, right? Intrusion detection means it will detect, and intrusion prevention means it will prevent, right? So this is one device. There are multiple vendors for IPS, IDS like Cisco, Snort, right? Proofpoint, Fortinet, right? There are multiple Barracuda. There are multiple vendors for this IPS, IDS. So what happens is, if you deploy your device on the IDS mode, in intrusion detection mode, in this case, what will happen? whenever, again, IPv4 based on signature, right? Signature, it has the ACL. So what happens is, whenever any connection or looks malicious for IDS, right? Means signature matches. If you have deployed this device on the IDS mode, it will not block any connection. Once it detects the connection is malicious, it will generate an alert. Means it will not block the traffic. Connection will communication will continue, right? Just it will detect and generate an alert, send an alert, right? So if you do this kind of deployment, it is an observation mode. You can see it's an observation mode. You know, observer only observe, right? Do not take any action. So whenever there are connections, if it is suspicious signature matches, it will generate an alert. However, it will not block the communication, right? This kind of deployment is called as IDS. If you deploy your device on the IPS mode, right? Whenever any suspicious connection found, signature matches, it will block the communication. Along with that, it will generate the alert, same as IDS, but it will block the communication. Get in mind? So this mode is called as IPS mode, means intrusion prevention system. Means it will prevent from the intrusion. Get in mind? That's the reason we call as intrusion prevention system. However, majority of the deployment will be on the IDS mode instead of IPS. Why? Because IPS generate a lot of false positive. False positive means many of the time it will generate an alert saying that SQL injection attack, trust attack, DOS attack, DDoS attack, right? Many of times it will generate an alert. When you investigate yourself, you'll find that that particular activity is not a suspicious activity. Majority of the time, many of the time. Get in mind? So if you deploy it on the IPS mode, what will happen? It will block the communication. However, that communication might be a business communication, may not be suspicious, right? In that case, your communication will be interrupted. Business impact. Yes or no? Understand? That is the reason big companies will deploy this device on the IDS mode instead of IPS, because there is no sense of winning the war if most of the people are died. That means we have to win the war also, and we have to save our public people also. Yes or no? If that means we have to secure our network also at the at the same time we have to maintain CIA here availability. Yes or no? If most of the connections are being blocked by the IPS, no sense of securing the network, the business is being impacted. Yes or no? That's the reason enterprise network, most of the time deployment will be on IDS mode. And a small company which are expecting the traffic from certain sources, they can deploy on the IPS mode because they know the source of communication, right? Those they can whitelist, and for other they can put on the monitoring, they put on the blocking mode. Yes or no? That is fine for them, but majority of the time it will be IDS mode. However, if any company plan to deploy this IDS IPS device on the IPS mode, still for 6 months or a year, they will deploy on the IDS mode only. That is called learning mode. Yes or no? Even they want to plan, they want to plan it out to deploy in the IPS mode. Initially, they will deploy in the IDS mode only, and observe how many alerts are being generated and what situation: true positive, false positive. True positive means the alert says SQL injection attack, and when you investigated, you also found yes, it's an attack. Means what alert says, you also found the same after investigation. Then this alert will be called as true positive. When alert says it's a DDoS attack, for example, any attack, you have found different, means it's not an attack, it's legitimate activity. That particular alert will be called as false positive. True, what alert said, you found the same, true positive. What alert says, you found the different, false positive. Get in mind? So majority of the time, since it trigger false positive, right? So in case you want to deploy in the IPS mode, initial time we'll deploy in the IDS mode. We'll see how many alert is firing, true positive, false positive. Then we need to do some kind of changes, fine tuning on the IDS device, so the next time it will not trigger false positive, unnecessarily alert, right? Otherwise, if it is triggered unnecessarily, if you put in the IPS mode, it will block. Yes or no? So that mode is called a learning mode. Initially, you can deploy on the IDS mode, learning mode, and then if you have plan, you can deploy on the IPS mode. Get what I mean? So Unlike other devices, see, other device like your firewall, whenever any connection comes in, it will allow, disallow, as well as it will record the logs, the activity, from which source IP, what time, which source IP, which destination IP connection came, firewall allowed the connection. Yes or no? Each and every connection will be recorded in the form of logs. Unlike firewall, in IPS, whenever connection comes, it does not record each and every activities. Whenever signature matches, it will generate an alert, right? So every logs of the IPS is an alert, not the logs like firewall. Firewall generate billions of logs per day. But IPS will generate few logs, 100, 200, 300 logs, if it is not very well fine-tuned. If you have very well fine-tuned, maybe 100, 10, 20, or sometime less even. So each and every activity does not record. It only generates an alert when there is a suspicious activity found signature message. It will generate an alert, right? So IPS work on the layer 3, 4 also. That means layer 3 and layer 4 based attack also it will detect based on IP address and port number, as well as it has visibility on layer 7 also. So application layer of attack also will be detected by the IPS IDS, right? So in case you don't have WAF, but if you have IPS, right? Many of the company, if they have business, their business depend on the web application, they may have IPS IDS also, or they may have WAF also. But few company may have either WAF, not IPS IDS, or they may have IPS IDS or not WAF, right? Because your IPS IDS have layer number 3, 4 also, and layer number 7 as well, right? Yes. Yes, yes,
Sir,
go ahead.
Sir, is it possible to IPS and I work on both mode?
Both mode mean, both mode, IPS has both mode, right?
Yeah.
IDS and IPS also means it detect also and prevent also. Yes or no? IDS signature matches just generate an alert. No prevention, no blocking. While IPS prevent also and generate an alert also. Means IPS has the IDS mode also, detection mode also, and prevention. Got it?
Okay.
Means it will generate an alert also. At the same time, it will block also. Okay. So you'll see this kind of device. So whatever devices so far we have discussed, right? We discussed routers, switches, right? So let's have a quick rewind what we have discussed so far, right? On the first class, we started, these most of the classes are with regards to basic networking and security concept, which is the very, very important, which is the foundation of security, right? Because if you want security means cyber security means we secure the data, we secure the network. Guys, mute your mic, please. Who is not in mute? Vishnu is not listening to the class. Okay. Waiting room. In cyber security, we are, working towards securing the data, right? Securing the network. But in order to secure the network, it's very important to have the understanding of the network. Then only we can plan to secure it, right? If you want to secure a company, you give the project to security guard company, right? They will come and see how many doors you have, right? Where the entrance, where the exit, where the windows, yes or no? So that accordingly they can deploy security guards, yes or no? So it's very important to have the good foundation. Many of the people, for example, you are the fresher, right? Or working some other field, might get in cyber security, right? Once you get in the job, you will directly start working in the tools. You will not, they will not be explaining you foundation, what is important. Maybe you directly get in tools like SIEM tool and some other tool, right? But your foundation is not clear. The people whose foundation is not clear, they do not grow fast. They will never be confident. They can learn themselves also, but not everybody. They keep working because see what happens is any work you do, right? Even you don't have understanding, right? Repetitive work you have to do. Yes or no? Go to the company, okay, 1 month you will see to someone, or you check emails, you check what they're working, and same copy-paste work, same work you will be doing, right? But your foundation is not strong. In that case, there are less chances that you will grow and you will be confident and you will be, growing fast, right? There are very less chances because foundation should be clear, foundation should be strong. So that is the reason initial 5, 6, 7 classes, we talk about the basic of network security concept, which is very important foundation. Once you understand it, slowly, you'll have full concept clear and you'll be much more confident. You'll be ready. You can speak to anyone. You can speak on any topic, right? So we started with basic networking security concept. First class, we understand we had one computer, right? And we had to access the facebook.com, flipkart.com, right? Then we understand the use of internet. Then we should have the internet in order to access any website. So first of all, we will take the internet concept from ISP, internet service provider. Yes or no? We understand what is internet. Internet means internetworking, communication from one network to another network. We call as internet, right? All the internet service provider are connected with each other. That is called internet, one network to another network. All the service provider across the world forms this internet. Internet is not the property of anyone; it's property of everyone. That is the reason we call as public network. Get in mind, once you connect to the internet, you'll get the IP address. IP address, unique identifier, unique identity, which is unique across the globe. The IP address that you are using in your system is not being used by any other system across the globe, right? So, like your name, computer should also have the name on the internet that we call IP address. Yes or no? So we understand IP addresses are not free. There's some cost which is being assigned. The series of IP addresses are being assigned by INA, International Authority. ISP by the IP address from INA, right? There is some cost involved, right? So buying the each and every IP and assigning is very, very difficult. So in that case, for normal broadband users, ISPs and people can use a DHCP server, dynamic host configuration protocol server, right? And they can reutilize the IP address by dynamically assign the IP address to the system. They can reutilize till the time you connect to the internet, IP address will be assigned to you, and it can go back to the DHCP pool. Once you disconnect, it can be reutilized and assigned to someone else. That is DHCP. And also in case of DHCP, dynamically IP address can be assigned. You need not to configure manually. Yes or no? That is called DHCP. Again, another type of IP is called a static IP address, right? Which will remain configured and remain, along with your computer till the time you have paid for. Either permanently you have bought the IP address, or you have subscribed monthly basis to any service provider from any service provider, right? So that IP will be configured and will be used by your system only. Yes or no? That is called a static IP address. So for applications, web applications, or any of the device access you want to give to someone, in that case, your system should have static IP address. You can't change your address. Pizza Hut cannot change their address every time. Otherwise, it will be difficult for people to find it out. Similarly, if any application you want to deploy, you should have static IP address. Static IP address is a separate cost involved. Yes or no? Then you got the IP address. Then you access the type flipkart.com. But we understand, computer understand, your browser understand only IP address, not the domain. Then we need another server called a domain name server, DNS, where we have mapping of IP address and domain name and IP address, right? That list we call as a record, call it DNS record, right? Once you access any website, your request will go to DNS server. Once your computer configured with IP address, we need to define the DNS server IP address also, so that browser will understand where to send the DNS request to get the IP address. Yes or no? So DNS server will have mapping of domain name with IP address with domain name, right? So once you access the facebook.com, request will go to DNS server. That request we call a DNS query, and DNS query goes on which port number? DNS port number?
53.
53.
It was homework, right?
53.
What is the DNS port number? This was homework, right? First, people who has not given answer, they have rejected on the first interview. It was very important question. Okay. So it goes on the port
53.
number 53, right? DNS query, DNS server, and retrieve the domain name, and then it will go to the internet. Facebook.com, Flipkart.com, you'll get the Facebook page, right? So there are various DNS records such as SOA record, SPF record, right? DKIM record, you have MX record, yes or no? CNAME record. So that is also you have to go through what are DNS records.
A record,
A record, triple A record, the multiple such kind of
record.
records, right? So that you can go through on the DNS server, right? Now we understand the communication will happen, right? Now we have to design our own company, right? Then we understand the requirement of IP address that we have to, the objective was to all the computers should be able to connect to the internet, and all the computers should be able to communicate with each other. In that case, we understand the private IP address. INA says that this private IP 3 range of IP address are free for everyone. Anybody can use internally to their network, but terms and condition is these IP address will not be identified over the internet, means public network. But yeah, internal communication you can do using private IP address, but will not be identified over the internet. Get it mind? So what are the 3 range of IP addresses? Private IP address
10.0.10.0.0.8
public 8 178.16.0.16 192.168.0.16 12
right, right. And third 192
192.168.0.0.
good, good, good. Good.
Sorry,
So
8
that is
1260.
that is the range of private IP address. INA says that anybody can use it for free, but only internal network. By assigning the IP address to an internal system, our internal system can communicate with each other, can do the data transfer, anything you can do. But again, the second objective was to access the internet. Again, private IP, we cannot go to the internet. Then we have to have public IP address. Then again, multiple IP address. Then we came to the concept of netting, network address translation, mapping of one IP address with another IP address called as netting. So here, once, so you can buy a single IP address and assign to the router. Router will have the netting feature. Once you access anything, your request will go to router, and router will map your private IP with the public IP, and hence, using the single IP address, your 100 of computers, 1,000 of computers can access the internet using single IP address, right? That process called as netting. Is nothing but mapping of one IP address with other IP address. Here, private and public IP address mapping is happening, right? So that process is called as netting, right? So after that, we understand that in your local area network or in the public network, whatever it is, so one or more devices, two or more devices will be communicated with each other, right? Means they are connected with each other. So connection, we call it networking. Connection means networking, right? So in this case, if 2 or more devices want to communicate with each other, we have to deploy certain networking devices. There are 2 networking devices. What are those?
Routers and
Router
switches.
and switch, right?
Router
When
and
we
switch.
deploy switch, in what case we deploy switch? If
Within
there
the
are
same
two-
network.
Same network we deploy switch, and different network we deploy router.
Right, same subnet, same network, same subnet. If 2 or more devices belong to same network, same subnet, we deploy the switch to allow the communication.
Yeah.
If 2 or more devices belongs to different network, then
Then router.
then we deploy the
router.
right? For example, this is router. नहीं ऐसे नहीं कहा, ये तो representation होता है. For example, this is router, right? Router have this port. Right? One IP address of the router belongs to 10.0.0.1. Can second be 10.0.0.2? Can I assign this IP address to another port?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
This is router.
Yes.
This is router. Can I assign if 10.0.0.1 is one IP? Can I assign 10.0.0.2 to another port?
No, sir.
And
No.
10.0.0.3 to another port? No.
No, sir.
Yes or no?
Sir. No, no.
Why?
No, sir.
Why?
Why we call actually different network? It is the same
Right.
network.
All the interfaces or port of the router should be part of different network.
Different network.
Right? So we cannot give this range of IP address because it's part of same network, same subnet. Right? So in this case, I want to communicate this to what tool we have to deploy?
Switch.
Switch, right?
Switch.
Switch, right? I have to connect. Can I connect this another 192.168.0.2
No, sir.
with this switch?
No, sir.
No.
No,
Oh, right? You understand your concept is clear, right? In that case, we need router.
Router.
Network want to connect router, right? So router routes between the network, while switches within the network or within the subnet. For switch is which layer device as per the OSI model?
Switch is a layer 2 device.
Layer
2 device.
And router
Layer 3.
Layer 3 device.
Layer 3 device.
and digital switches.
Layer
2 and 3 and
3 and 4.
Layer
3 and 4.
Digital switches.
Layer 2 and layer 3.
Layer 2 and layer 3.
Layer 3.
Digital routers.
Layer 3 and layer 4.
Layer 3 and layer 4.
Layer 3 and firewall, network security firewall.
Layer 4.
Layer 4.
Layer 3 and layer 4.
Layer
Layer
3
3 and layer 4.
Layer 4.
Four.
Web application firewall. Web
Seven.
Layer
application
7.
firewall.
Layer
Layer
7.
7.
Layer 7, but it
5
is
to
actually
7.
5, 6, 7. Encryption, decryption, session, all it can be 5, 6, 7, but we generally call it layer 7, right? Repeaters. Repeaters.
Layer 1 device.
L1.
Layer 1.
L1 device.
Layer 1.
Layer 1.
Hub.
Layer 1.
Layer 1.
1.
Layer 1.
Cable.
Layer 1 में.
Layer 1.
Layer 1.
आज physical device connect to layer 1.
Right. Your MAC address.
Layer 2.
Layer 2.
Layer
MAC
two.
address is layer 2 device.
Any device which understand MAC address.
Is layer 2.
Layer 2.
Yes or no?
IP is layer 3.
Decryption. Encryption, decryption happen on which port? Which layer?
Session layer.
Presentation
Session
layer.
layer.
Presentation layer.
Presentation layer.
Layer 6.
Presentation layer.
Layer 6, right?
Presentation layer.
HTTPS application protocol. Which
Layer
layer?
7.
Layer 4.
7.
Layer 7.
Outlook works on which
Layer
layer?
7.
Layer
Layer
7.
7.
Layer?
7.
Web browser.
Layer 7.
Layer 7.
7.
7.
Layer 7, right? Facebook application.
Layer 7.
Layer 7.
Or application layer.
Correct. Good. Your concept is clear. So we understand that router and switches we use to form the network, right? In your company or in your office, right? The internet network called as local area network, means LAN. LAN means local area network, right? Another we call as MAN. MAN means one city to another city, right? We call as MAN, metropolitan area network, right? And one country to another country, ideally as per the definition we call as WAN. But now in the realistic you see, MAN word we are not using. Within network LAN and out of your network, internet means WAN, wide area network, right? So what I was telling, so now using router and switches you form the network, right? A router and switches are not being used within your company only. Internet also you will see the router, because one ISP will connect to another ISP, and within ISP also from domestic gateway, international gateway, right? So from one device to another device over the internet, you want to access the facebook.com. Within your country you have 3-4 router, but within a company, but outside you go internet also there are many routers. What we call a gateway is nothing but a router only. Get in mind? Gateway is nothing but the router only. ISP routers. Get in mind? So there will be many such routers in
high
between.
capacity router, sir. High capacity.
Of course, high capacity. Because they have to bear that kind of load, right? So those are nothing but the routers only, right? So using router and switches, we form the network. Then we'll understand your network is created, right? Design. Your user can access anything outside, but along with that, outside user also from internet can come inside. In internet, public network, good people, bad people, both, right? Then understand the secure. We have to secure the network. Then we talk about the firewall. Firewall work equally same as security guard. Yes or no? Anybody comes in from where you have come, where you have to go, to whom you want to meet, means what is your source IP, what is the destination IP, on which port number you want to connect. Then a firewall will check the ACL, whether it has to be allowed or disallowed. Then firewall permit or deny the traffic. Yes or no? And it will record in form of logs. Yes or no? All the network device, security device, server, application, databases, which is the part of typical IT infrastructure, will be recording all the activities in the form of logs. Logs means event, evidence. Yes or no? Logs are nothing but the event or evidence, proof, something happened, history. Yes or no? So firewall will allow a disallow based on the ACL. ACL will be the vendor, IP address, blacklisted IP address. Vendor will do the kind of research, their R&D team, and check the IP address, right? And based on that, it will allow it has the static list also. That means we ourselves also can allow or disallow any IP address. Some kind of attack happen, compromise happen. Firewall did not detect as part of dynamic ACL, resulting successfully compromise will happen. right? Then you investigate, you found that that particular IP address, attacker IP address. In that case, to stop the communication, you have to block the IP address. In that case, manually you have to block the IP address on firewall. Get in mind, on the static list, you can also create blocking one thing, but you can also create the static rules. Particular source would connect to particular destination only, and particular source would connect particular destination on particular ports only, right? Means any IP and combination of port number protocols. Also, you can create such rules, static rules, right? Which we can create on the static list. So understand the working of firewall. Then we talk about the WAF. Because a typical network security firewall does not have ability to look at the layer server information. Yes or no? Maybe some malicious commands are there on the data part, but firewall will understand only source IP destination IP, source port destination port. Based on that, it will allow or disallow. In that case, we need some device which can open up the data part and see if there is a malicious command. Yes or no? That will be done by the WAF, means WAF, Web Application Firewall. Get in mind? So web application firewall is only for web application, and ideally the web application which has been given access to outside people. But yeah, internally, if you are using any web application, no need to secure because it is part of an internal network, right? Any public facing application, that means publicly accessible application, right? Public application we deploy in which zone of your network?
DMZ.
Application we deploy on which zone?
DMZ zone.
DMZ.
DMZ or DMG? What is full form DMG?
Demilitarized zone.
Demilitarized zone. Why we call this zone demilitarized?
Because anybody can access.
Right. That means people are allowed to come in your network, right? That reason is opposite of military, meaning demilitarized. So all company will form this zone, we call a DMG zone, where they will deploy the application which has to be accessible for outside people. We call this DMG zone. Internal zone, internal application we have deployed only for internal people, internal zone, PCI zone, PII zone. So you can subdivide your network in multiple zone based on the accessibility. Yes or no? Accessibility and based on the authorization. Accessibility and authorization, right? So you can subdivide your network. So WAF we deploy for in the web application only. Yes or no? To secure from outside, outside bad people. Yes or no? Web application firewall. So web application firewall only for web application, right? Such as web application attacks, such as cross-site scripting, SQL injection, right? DDoS attack, right? These are some of the web application attacks, right? To secure your application for web based attack, we deploy web application firewall. Normal traffic will not go through the WAF. Email you send, not go through WAF, right? Access to any website, not go through the WAF. Get it? So that is WAF. Another, then we understand that maybe attacker may use different IP, new IP address. Firewall may not be knowing that IP address is malicious. It can send an email with a malicious attachment, or email is having some malicious link, phishing link. Yes or no? And IP address was not blacklisted and port number is 25, which is allowed for everyone. In that case, successfully compromise may happen. Yes or no? So in that case, we need to deploy a device which can regulate, which can secure our network from email-based attack, phishing emails, malware emails, spam emails, spoofed emails. Then we talk about email gateway. Yes or no? Email gateway again will be connected to their cloud, which they will be updating the category of email ID and domain, which email IDs are belongs to like malware, phishing, spam, spoofed, right? They'll be updating the category. If any emails coming in belong to that category, will be quarantined on the email gateway, right? So we can secure our network from such kind of emails, suspicious email, as well as we can also regulate what email people can send outside. If by mistakenly or less intentionally or unintentionally anybody sending an email to the phishing email ID, it will be blocked by the email gateway. As well as data leakage also we can detect. Data leakage means insider threat. Yes or no? Insider people may send some critical data outside, some proprietary and classified information outside. Yes or no? In that case, we can create a policy, right? So email will get quarantined. We can review such emails. So there will be a dedicated analyst who will be reviewing, monitoring the email gateway 24/7 to ensure that legitimate emails should be released. And if anybody is sending such emails outside, we can review and we can investigate and we can, ask justification and we can take some action, or we can recommend to take some action in case of violation of any policies, right? So we can protect our network in such email communication, right, using the email gateway, right? Then we talk about the proxy. Email based attack, we have email gateway. Sometimes firewall fails, right? We are accessing some website which IP address is not malicious, but domain is malicious. That website is content is malicious, hosting the malware or asking some confidential information to be entered, right? In that case, we need a content filtering device, URL filtering device that we call as proxy. Get it? So proxy we can use for internet regulation. What website our internal user can access, right? We can regulate using proxy. Proxy vendor, what does proxy? Whenever any website comes in the live in the internet, proxy vendor does the research and check the content, do the review of the content, and categorize that particular website belongs to which category. Social media, emailing, business website, technology website, video streaming, live streaming, yes or no, file sharing. They will categorize, right? Now, based on the role of the people, roles and responsibility of the people, we can give the access of the specific category, right? People whose role does not falls to access the social media website will not give access to them, will not give access to the job portals, will not give access to Gmail. Otherwise, they can upload any information, Google Drive, any information. So role-based access we can give so that people will not be wasting your bandwidth, will not doing the time pass, yes or no, as well as data leakage also can be detected, can be protected their network from data leakage by avoiding email sites, Google Drives, means share file sharing website, yes or no. So we can regulate our internet access using the proxy. In case someone access those websites which are blocked, they will get the block page saying that your organization has chosen to block this page for you, website for you, because this website falls under this category. So anybody can request, and any website can be allow or disallow on the static ACL, right? Understand? That is the work of proxy. We call as this device as proxy because your connection is directly not going to internet, means your IP is not going directly to the internet. Your connection request will go to the proxy, and proxy will initiate a new connection on behalf of you and go to the internet. That is the reason this device we call as proxy. Get it? Mind? You are sitting in India for open proxy, putting in India, you connect to the proxy server on USA and access USA site. That is how using proxy people can access some blocked website which is blocked for a particular country and can access some website, and they can hide their IP also behind the proxy. For this proxy solution we use for company to regulate the internet access, but there are some open proxy on the internet people can use to access the blocked website or to hide their identity, to hide their IP address, yes or no. So that we call as proxy, right? After that we talk about antivirus endpoint security solution, right? Maybe something you have downloaded, proxy did not detect it's a malicious site, and something has been downloaded, malware, email has been delivered because email gateway failed to detect. We always believe on multi-layer security. So if your malicious file or malware reached to your endpoint, then we should have some endpoint solution which can still detect something malicious. This proxy, email gateway, firewall is network security device, but this is the endpoint security. In endpoint, all the endpoint we have this antivirus deployed. Yes or no? As soon as any file comes to your network, once you click to open it, it will scan the file. That kind of scan we call as real-time scan. Yes or no? It will match. It will scan again the signature, right? Again the behavior of the file. If anything detected, malicious file detected, either it may clean or delete, quarantine or left alone. These are the typical action. Yes or no? As well as it generate the log, which file has been scanned, which system, what is the IP of the system, what is the path of the file, which user has been logged in the system, right? Everything will be, as well as what is the hash value of the file hash or hash value of the file, that also will be recorded in the form of logs. Yes or no? So in this case, we can secure our endpoint using the endpoint security solution such as antivirus. Get it? Then we talk about the IPS IDS. Yes or no? Behind the firewall, ideally, some company may deploy before the firewall, right? But before the firewall, it is not recommended, because the firewall device do not generate an alert, right? It generates just event. What happens if you deploy the device IPS first, before then behind firewall, your IPS will generate so many alerts, because your firewall, whenever any suspicious traffic is coming, it's blocking, simply blocking, right? Simply blocking. Then till IPS, there are less event. What is being filtered by the firewall already, only less bit traffic is filtered, and some maybe malicious. Then IPS will generate less number of alerts. If you deploy directly IPS, and every traffic is coming, IPS will generate an alert. You'll get a flood of alerts, right? That is not recommended to deploy IPS on the gateway before the firewall. It should be ideally behind the firewall. Get in mind? So these devices, router, switches, firewall, IPS, IDS, proxy, email gateway, antivirus, you will see across all the industries, all the companies. These are very popular devices and important devices, standard security devices, and mandatory for any companies. Majority of the company, your compliance is, see what happens is, securing, many companies, you see, they are forming security center, they are deploying different security devices. It is not something that they are too much bothered about your data. It's not something that they are bothered about data such in the security, putting the security. It's the government who is worried about their public data, their public information. Because whenever company lose the data, company data compromise means public data. It is not company owned data, right? It's public data, yours, mine, and others, right? It's our data. If this data is compromised, it's not a loss of companies only. Data loss of company ko far nahi padta. This company, that loss of data, this personal information, company has not lost the money actually. It lost the data, right? Data has been leaked. There is no much loss for the company, but it's a loss for the public, loss for the government. Other people can misuse this data, can misuse the data, right? Many of the company, they themselves leak this data. They will collect the information, they will sell the database. Yes or no? But this is prohibited. Any company should not sell or should not distribute this data which they have taken, right? If this data is compromised, company may not bother much about it, but it's a government who has to ensure the data security. Otherwise, it can be misused. It's a loss of whole country. So government makes the compliance rules. Compliance, nothing but a set of rules, set of policies. They look compliance. Compliance policy is not nothing but a set of rules, set of policies, which government forms based on what kind of industry and what kind of data you are handling. Get in mind? Based on that, securing that data, what kind of data you're handling, what kind of security tool has to be deployed, and what kind of configuration has to be done on those devices. Each and every minor things you can find in the compliance document. Get in mind? So that's a government who pushes the compliance policy that you're filing this kind of industry, handling this kind of data, then these security device has to be deployed in your company, compliance requirement. If you do not deploy, and if you do not configure according to compliance, then your license will be cancelled. Governments will send their people every year to verify whether companies are following the policy or not. That means companies are compliant or not. Any company is compliant or not. Compliant means following the policy, right? We are compliant. Compliant means we are following the compliance policies, right? If they will send their people to verify whether companies are following the compliance policies or not. Those people we call as, anybody knows? The government send people, right, to verify. What do we call them?
Auditors.
Auditors.
Auditor.
Right?
Audit.
Government will send their people, we call as auditors. Yes or no? Auditors who will verify. Now, auditor will come, show this information, show this log, show this device, since how long this up, or how many users have been created, what configuration has been done, show the logs, see the screenshot, or log in and we'll see it here. Various kind of evidence they will ask, right? Now, our business user may not be able to cooperate with them because business user busy in some other activities. Then company will hire some people we call as internal auditors. They're a private entity, means our company employee, and we call as auditor, means internal audit team, part of internal audit team. Our company will verify whether we are following the, okay, bhaiya, ye configuration, this should not happen. This is not in the form, this is not following the compliance. Then they will ask to change it.
Sir, video not visual.
Okay,
Sir.
1 moment. This internal auditor will ensure that we are following the, audit compliance. 1 moment. Internal auditor will read the compliance document and validate, because they have to face the auditor, external auditor, right? So they will validate the information to ensure that we are compliant, right? And whenever external auditor come, they are the interface for them. Mean they will coordinate with them. And whenever external auditor need any information, they will contact the technical team. Yeah, firewall team, can you share the screenshot of firewall console? Can you share the screenshot? How many user has been created? How many as admin? How many as level 1 and level 2? SIEM teams, they will contact SOC team. Last time, can you run the query for firewall logs and see, share the screenshot whether firewall logs are coming or not? With date, with the screen date, time and date, to verify the screenshot is taken today or this particular date, right? Many will are, saying that my company is not giving admin access to me. I'm not able to learn because they have given only read-only access, right? This is a compliance requirement. Not everybody, only few people have, so they have the admin access. Otherwise, these are critical tools. If everybody will access and have the full control, anybody can manipulate, any can modify, any can do any changes, which is not impacting your company, impacting the user information. Some changes may happen, something may be compromised. Maybe firewall get down, when your device get down, that's a compliance requirement. It will come and ask to see the user privileges, how many user admin and what access has been given to the different people. That's the reason you are not getting admin access, because it's a compliance requirement. Get it? So the companies are not much worrying about your data security, but it's the government who possesses the compliance policies. We are recently getting many calls, especially from UK nowadays, because in UK, some industries which were not even the part of SOC compliance, means security process and compliance, that you have to deploy the SIEM and monitor 24/7. Those are also now falling under the compliance. Now they're contacting and they're not. We are asking which SIEM tool you have to deploy. They're telling that we are not bothered about SIEM tool. Which one? We just have to deploy SIEM and enable the SOC. We are not bothered about which vendor, because we just have to fulfill the compliance. Yes or no? They are not at all bothered which SIEM tool they have to deploy. They only just need to read compliance policy and they have to just meet the compliance. Whichever is cheaper one. Understand? So that is how you understand recent cyber attacks are happening, right? Which reveals these are industries also not secure. These industries also like vulnerable for cyber attacks. Yes or no? Now government have the research team. They're also cyber crime team. They're also saying, okay, this kind of data can be compromised. Then government implement such compliance. That is also industry also should follow the compliance. Get it? So these are devices we deploy. So see, these are standard security devices. What we have discussed so far, right? Mostly all IT companies or not only IT companies, and all the companies you see nowadays, all the industries are digital, keeping the data server storage. Then these are very standard devices which you will see in all the companies. Then your funda is clear now, concept is clear, foundation is clear. For what purpose we use those devices? Get it? Understand? Clear? Any confusion on this as of now? Then we'll move forward.
Sir, I am a little confused on this IPS and IDS part. Like, what is the actual need? Why, like, we have firewall, WAF, and all everything.
Right.
So,
another layer of security control. Another layer of security control. If we have the WAF from Barracuda, we'll deploy the IPS IDS from Cisco. Get it? IPS IDS is not mandatory. If you have WAF, you may not deploy IPS IDS. Right? If you have IPS IDS, you may not deploy WAF, because we already have a layer 3, 4, we have firewall, and layer 7, we already have IPS. We know to deploy WAF. But some companies, we are getting data is very critical. They may deploy both IPS from different vendor and WAF from different vendor. Got it?
Why can't we use firewall instead of proxy to block the outside access?
Because firewall can only block IP address, not the URL, not the domain. Get it? Domain can have different IP address. Currently, this domain have this IP address. Next time, it can manipulate the DNS record and can route to a different IP address. Understand? See my
Yeah, no,
website.
but next generation firewall also has got that.
So that is what I said. That is what I said. Next generation firewall means it has a proxy. Nothing, but it is a proxy only. It has proxy feature, firewall feature, right? So we already understood last time that why many of the companies are not going with the next generation firewall. But again, that next generation firewall is not only a firewall, it's a club of all the different devices. It has IPS feature. We talk about a standard devices, right? Standalone. But if you club all together, single boss will work all together, right? You cannot say why we can use firewall. It's a next generation firewall, not a firewall. It's a next generation firewall which has the proxy feature. Standard firewall do not understand URL. Okay, standard firewall understand IP address, port number, protocol. Got it? Last class we already understand why we are not going next generation firewall, because single point of failure.
Sir, at the endpoint security, we are using only antivirus or any other technologies will be developed.
Nowadays, we understood yesterday that we can use EDR, which is a next generation tool.
Okay.
EDR, endpoint detection response. We
Sir,
can use DLP for data leakage.
Sir, netting concept is done only router, right, sir?
Yes. Layer 3, because IP address is layer 3, right? Yes or no? So which is being identified by router.
Sir, when we are configuring the router, like, is it ISP duty to configure that DNS part, like how the DNS, the request route to DNS, or should we configure it?
No, it depends. If you're a company, you are assigned, then your company may have DNS, right? So DHCP server, it will configure their own DNS. We understand first class only why your company will have their own DNS server. Yes or no? In ISP will configure their own as a part of DHCP. Automatically, DNS IP address will be configured on the system. While if you're the part of company, dynamic IP address, automatically your company DNS server address will be configured. Get it mind? We understand. You rewatch the video. You already understood why companies need their own DNS server. Why they can't use Google DNS server on any ISP DNS server. Got it?
There is inline, out of line, the firewalls are there.
The type of firewall, they can deep down on that. Packet inspection, deep packet inspection, right? Stateful firewall. Those are a type of firewall that is not required knowledge from our perspective. That is the reason I have not gone deep dive. Otherwise, these are separate training, firewall separate training, many days, many hours, many days, proxy separate training, but we need not require that time of deep knowledge, because from SOC perspective, we are only going to get the logs, see the logs, right? So knowledge is enough. You're not going to directly work on the firewall, IPS, proxy, right, or antivirus. You're not going to work directly. You'll have separate teams. Okay, so now clear? Everybody on the same page?
Sir, I have one doubt.
Hmm.
In DOS and DDoS attack, so we know that so the attacker will send the TCP off open flooded connection to the server.
Okay.
And he will not send the acknowledgement. So by the time, at the same time, if a legitimate user access the website, he'll get a server error or page not found error.
Correct.
Right? So for as of that, you told that for mitigation for the DDoS attack, we'll raise a query with ISP, right, to block that based on the geolocations.
Right.
So how much time it will take for the ISP to block it? By the time the attacker will do more infectation to the network, right? The more damage to the network.
It depends. Means it depends on SLA. It depends on the SLA, right? So it's a tool does not take much time to identify. Tool does not take much time, because tool will identify based on the half open connection as well. If some sources are sending half open connection, means not responding, it will block those sources.
Okay.
Big geolocation, it will block those sources. If any source sending multiple, maybe it's UDP based, right? Multiple packets within short span of time, which is not unusual. Those IP also will be blocked, right?
Okay.
That can be easily done by the, your anti-DDoS device such as Radware, Peakflow, CenturyLink, other Peakflow, CenturyLink, right? So
okay.
It is based on the SLA. How much? Generally, it will be 15 minutes, I believe. Within 15 minutes, if you contact them, you should be getting this kind of response. It depends on criticality. right?
Okay.
Lower the SLA, higher the cost.
Okay.
You have to pay.
So
Okay.
instead of that, in bigger companies, they'll use some Arbor
Right. They have
DDoS mitigation tool.
See, for example, Amazon, Flipkart, Facebook, any such companies whose major business rely on the web application, right? They cannot
Yes.
depend on the ISP, because their major business on the web applications only, ERP application, web application, other application, right? So they cannot depend on the ISP anti-DDoS device, right? They will have their own.
Yes.
Get it, fine?
Okay.
So,
thank you, sir.
Normal IT companies, so they may not having anti-DDoS.
Okay.
So in that case, they can contact the ISP. If you have their own DDoS device, you can block it and take the action on his own DDoS device. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
As we understand, all your network device, security device, servers, application databases, which is the part of IT network. Ideally, any device, not only this device, but any kind of device, which is the part of any IT infrastructure, should be recording the activities in the form of logs. Logs means event, record just evidence, right? Yes or no? How to whom we have sold, what is the name, what is the address, how much amount, you can record. It's nothing but a log that you write on the register, right? If anybody asks you to open the register notebook and ask you, okay, 27th of December, who has bought this particular, what was the price? It was a log, right? Similarly, what activity happens on those devices will be recorded in the form of logs. For example, some connection comes from this IP address, connect to this IP address. Particular time connection has been dropped, allowed by firewall or dropped by firewall. It will generate a log. Not only the communication log, somebody had logged in the firewall, it will generate a log. Somebody changed some configuration, generate the log. Firewall port down, generate the log. Firewall down, generate the log. Firewall restarted, generate the log. Firewall updated, generate the logs. Somebody log in on the Windows system, generate the log. Login failed, login success, account enable, account disable, account created, account disable, deleted, right? Account lockout, file open, file close, file modified, right? Account have given more privileges, right? These all server restarted, system restarted. These all activities will be recorded in the form of logs. I can log in on the system, go on the event, for example, Windows you have, right? You can go on the event viewer and you can see system log, security log, application log. Means all the activities are happening on the system will be recorded in the form of logs. You can see those, what activity happened on the system. Okay, because all these devices are recording the activity in the form of logs, right? That means if I have logs, I can understand, right, what communication happened, from which IP communication came on the firewall, at what time, how much downloaded, how much uploaded, proxy, which user has what URL, how much downloaded, how much uploaded, which category belongs to, at what time. This particular name 𝐓𝐫𝐚𝐢𝐧𝐢 has access how many website. For YouTube, how much time is he has spent? Yes or no? So these all information will record in the form of logs. Get it, mind? So now, for example, this was the attacker. This was the attacker targeting to one of our system having this particular IP address, right? So when he attacked, these devices fail to detect. For example, it's an email. For example, it's an email. Router routes firewall port number 25 and port number 25 and this one and IP address was not blacklisted. Email gateway also delivered. Means all the devices fail to detect, right? When all the devices fail to detect means they does not have signature. This kind of attack we call as
Zero-day attack.
Zero-day attack, right? Zero-day attack means none of your security devices are having signature to detect it as a malicious activity, as an attack. That attack we call as zero-day attack. If you want to write, you can write it. What is zero-day attack? Till today, I have not asked you, means I have not explained anything to be written, right? Next class onward, once we start the SIM, each and everything you have to write, as well as the notes also that I have given to you. SIM to SIM, it is written on SIM notes. First SIM, so I have created many such document. Only one document I have shared for you just now, SIM notes. where it is exactly written what I'm going to explain you here, and same thing I will ask you to write. And same thing you have in document also. Means 3 times. One time here, one time I'll explain you write, and third time you read the book. 3 times. I would have just shared the slide. Yes or no? I would not ask you to write. Why? Because if you write multiple times, if you hear some word multiple times, means more chances to be written for more time on your mind. Right? That is the reason, because this training job oriented, we spend more time. Yes or no? So that you will keep it for long time in your mind.
So can you repeat that question? 0-day attack, please.
0-day attack is nothing but 0-day attack is an attack when none of your security devices, are having signature to detect it. When none of your security devices are having signature to detect it, that attack is called as 0-day attack. Right? So what will happen in case of 0-day attack?
System will compromise.
In this case, successful compromise will happen, right? So you understand, right? Because this standard security devices work based on signature, means predefined information. You mean other people, research companies research, right? But attackers are very intelligent. Cyber attackers are not same as physical thieves, right? Cyber attackers are educated people, even very educated people. One moment. Well educated people we call as cyber attackers. Cyber criminals are very well educated people. They are not uneducated, even well educated, even sometime well educated, having more knowledge than you, me, and others. Yes or no? So they always find out new ways, right? Sometimes even security research company also may not be aware what malware they have developed and what vulnerability their network is having, security is having, right? See, because what happens is, of course, police work is more challenging. Yes or no? Then the criminals. Why? Because criminals having one target only. Yes or no? And police has to look at all. If they do not know from where the criminals are going to attack, they have to find out only one door, while the cyber security people has to secure all doors, and they do not know why securing this door someone has penetrated in this door. Yes or no? So in this case, there are more chances. There are some chances where the 0-day attack will happen and none of your devices are having signature to detect it. Yes or no? Successful compromise will happen. In that case, for example, somehow you come to know that your company is being compromised, some email delivered, some backdoor has been created, right? In that case, now to understand, this is not a physical theft. Okay, you have security guard. Okay, this person is going out, hit him or catch him. In physical theft, we can see people who came outside, who gone outside. But in digital theft, you can't see. Yes or no? You cannot see who has came inside. That's the reason it's very more critical. So in this case, the only way to find out is using the records, is using the logs. What communication is happening, what communication happened, we can see in the logs. Now, if I want to identify, so whenever connection came inside or gone outside, these all middle devices will record the activity in the form of logs. Then to understand more about this activity, what all I have to do? I have to log in on these each and every devices. your router, firewall, your IPS IDS maybe, or your Windows system, your email logs, right? All the devices I have to log in to understand what kind of activity it is. Understand? So that by understanding analysis, we can take the action, we can block it, and to understand more about it, we can block it, whether it's actually legitimate activity or it's a malicious activity. Accordingly, we can take the action. I mean, all these devices we have to log in and analyze the logs. Understand? Read the logs and analyze it, understand it. But these are many different devices, right? And out of these devices, some of the logs like router, firewall, IPS, IDS, these devices are very aggressive in generating the logs because all the logs are, all the communication is happening using those devices. You have lakhs of users. Yes or no? So many logs, billions of logs are generating per day, these devices, firewall, router, and all. So if you log in on the firewall and try to analyze the logs, how many logs? There are many thousands of logs you will see. Lakhs of logs, not 1,000 logs. Lakhs of logs you will see for 10-15 seconds also. Many lakhs of logs. Only in the firewall, you leave our other devices. Now you have to log in the firewall, identify, log in the router, identify, log in the IPS, log in the system and identify. This is not only challenge that you have huge logs, but the other challenge is those devices do not having any standard format to record the activities. Every devices are having their own format. And also, those formats, name of the fields are not very clear. For example, source IP means from where the connection has came. Destination IP means where the connection is going. But unfortunate for these devices is, these devices do not give the proper name. For example, firewall record the activity, source IP, it may write SRC is equal to DST, some firewall for destination IP, right? Some firewall may not, for example, source equal to 199.0.2.100, source IP. SRC, instead of source IP, it is SRC. Some device even may not capture SRC also. Just mention the IP address. One IP address, first IP address is source IP address, another IP address, destination IP. Means they do not even record the name of the device, name of the field. And no, firewall is not the only device log that you have to analyze. There are so many other devices, and other devices are also having a different format. One device for one IP is called source SRC, other device is called source IP, another device source address, another device not recording the name. These logs, which devices are recording, we call it raw logs. Raw material, you understand, right? Raw material, can you eat raw vegetables? No, right? You have to cook, you have to fry, then only you can, okay, curry, you can eat. Similarly, analyzing these raw logs is very, very difficult. If you're expert in the firewall, you understand, your daily work in the firewall, you understand. But when you have so many different devices, logs are coming in, analyzing those raw devices, raw logs are very, very difficult and time-taking process. First of all, you have to log in on each and every devices. Then you have to understand this raw format. Many different, so many logs you have here. Very, very difficult to write. Maybe we would take a full day. Attacker has came inside, done his work in next 5-10 minutes, and you ended up doing this historical analysis. Means actively you are not able to take any action because of the delay. Understand? You have to log in on each and every device, then you have to understand the log format is different, right? Time-taking procedure. Understand? Clear, everybody? It's a challenge. In this case, we have to introduce one technology, one tool that we call as SIEM. Here, SIEM is going to help you. The tool is called as SIEM. And one more challenge for these devices recording the logs, but not keeping the logs for a long time. Some device 1 month, some device 2 months, some device 3 months, some device 15 days only, some device 2 days only. If some fraud happened 6 months back, forensics, 𝐓𝐫𝐚𝐢𝐧𝐢𝐬, some fraud happened, something happened, right? Some crime happened, then case closed. Then again new officer will come, new government will come, they'll ask you, do the forensic again, gade mar de ukhado, फिर से किस चालू करो file, right? Yes or no? Some murder happen, forensic will come and check the evidence, right? Similarly, some fraud happen. See, in cybercrime, sometimes company may not be able to realize that our system, our data has been compromised. Maybe 5-6 months or a year later, something will be found. Okay, data has been compromised. Some manipulation happen. Then they may start investigation. Yes or no? That we call as forensics, cyber forensics. So now 1 year back, something happened. Now you started investigating, but your device does not have logs. All logs have been deleted because different devices are having their own capacity to record the logs. Till what time they will record? That's another challenge, right? In this case, to overcome all those challenges, we can have one technology, and the technology have tool. The technology is SIEM. SIEM. SIEM stands for
Security Information Event Management.
Security information and event management.
Information and event
Management.
Security information and event management. SIM, security information. Security information and event means security related information event. It will manage, right? That's the reason we call as SIM. What SIM does, what SIM does, we call as SIM or SIM, right? I will ask you to write the definition of SIM. Just hold down here and see. SIM means security information event management, right? So what it does, it records the real-time logs from network device, security device, servers, applications, databases, etc. Means as soon as connection hit to the firewall will record the activity. What activity happened? At the same time, within fraction of second. Means once connection will happen, it will record the activities. Within the fraction of second, it will generate and send the logs to your SIM. Similarly, your email gateway, your proxy, your switches, router, and devices, all devices, once they will generate the logs, real-time logs. Why are we calling as real-time? Because live, within fraction of second, they will send the logs to your SIM. Get in mind? So SIM collect the real-time logs from network. I will ask you to write the definition. Hold on. I'll ask you once I complete it. I'll ask you to write the definition now. So your SIM collect the real-time logs from network device, security device, servers, application, data, etc., or any digital devices which your organization is having. SIM can collect the logs, which has certain security concern, because SIM name itself says security information. Because any device, any logs, if it has security concern, the SIM can collect it. So it collect the real-time logs from network device, security device, server, application, device, etc. Once it collect the logs, it normalize the logs. Normalize. It normalize. What is the meaning of normalize?
Readable form.
Normalize means general meaning is simplification, right? Simplified. If you go generic meaning, means simplification, simplify, right? Normalize, simplification, right? So normalize means for now, it will, this raw logs, right? The unreadable log, not easily readable format logs, right? So it will convert this raw logs, unreadable logs, to readable format, standard format, common format. It will convert this unreadable raw logs to the readable format, common format. That we call normalization. Now, whenever SIM receive the logs, after receiving it normalize, that means SRC, source address, SRC, source IP, source, all this field will be mapped with source address. Now source IP will be called as source address. It will map the device specific field set with the SIM defined field, the common field set. But yeah, now the source SRC, source IP will not be called as SRC source, it will be called as source address. So it will change all the different field set with the common field set, readable, easily readable. Source address, destination address, source port, destination port, device section. These are easily readable format. Anybody can understand meaning of source address. Anybody understand meaning of destination address. Yes or no? This is a more readable format, common format. That is work on normalization. So normalization will deep down in a later period, right? As of now, we'll understand it change the raw logs, the common format, readable format. They look on normalization, right? So once it collect the log, it normalize the logs. Yes or no? And keep the logs for a long time. It can hold the log for 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 5 year, 10 years based on your company requirement, security requirement, forensics and audit requirement, compliance requirement. It is written on compliance policies. When you see the SIEM compliance as per the company, it will be written. You have to deploy the SIEM and all the device logs should be collected by the SIEM, should be integrated by the SIEM, right? All these devices, and you need to keep 3 years logs on the SIEM, 5 years, 10 years, based on the criticality and what kind of data these companies are holding. So you SIEM have the capability to keep the logs for a long time. These devices are not keeping for a long time. The SIEM can keep the logs for a long time, as well as it can enable searching and reporting. It has search console where you can give the query. You want router log, give the query for router. Select which time you are looking for last 1 day, 2 days, 1 month, 2 months, 5 months. Give the query, get the router log. Firewall log you want, give the query for firewall logs and get the logs. Means now you don't need to log in on each and every devices. Just log in on the SIEM and one place only get the logs. Now at the time of attack also, investigation, forensics you do, need not to log in on each and every devices. Just log in on the SIEM, get the logs, write the search query, get the logs. Means it keeps a long time and enables you searching and reporting feature. Get a point? That is one feature of the SIEM, to collect real-time logs, normalize the logs, keep the log for a long time, searching and reporting. Second feature also has, see, when SIEM started first time, it was not SIEM. It was only SIEM. SIEM. Security Information Management. Mean it has only this feature only to collect the real-time log, normalize the logs, keep the log for a long time, searching and reporting. It has only this feature. It used to be called as SIEM, means Security Information Management. Get in mind? We used to call as Security Information Management. Now you can see another challenge using SIEM only as SIEM is. Now we understand we are collecting all the logs on the same place, right? But in case of attack, some cyber attack, what happens is your SIEM is collecting 1,000 logs per second, 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 event per second. Now you see you have billions of logs per day. Even though have all the logs coming from the same place, but would we be able to monitor billions of logs and check each and every log? Even you have 20, 25 analysts also, they cannot keep an eye of billions of logs per day and find out which event is suspicious, which activity is suspicious. It's very, very, very difficult. Yes or no? In this case means we have to monitor, because attack will happen and it will generate the log. Means we have to monitor the logs. Then only we'll understand what kind of activity we will be able to take the action. But as a human being, it's very difficult. We can't sit 24/7 and see the log. Even it is not possible. We work, SOC team work 24/7. But still, we cannot have these many people who can take care of billions of logs. Then in that case, we can ask our SIEM to monitor on behalf of us. But yeah, we cannot do that. So can you help us on doing this? Your SIEM will tell, okay, I can do it. But on what basis I will decide which event is suspicious or which set of event is suspicious, so that I can let you know. We told SIEM, okay, do one thing, you monitor, and if you find any event suspicious or set of event, combination of event, like 100 event, 200 event suspicious, then generate an alert. But SIEM is asking us, on what basis I will identify particular event is suspicious? Because I am the machine, I don't have my own brain. Yes or no? Computer does not have own brain. We have to feed, right? Computer is very smart, can work fast than human. But brain who has given? Human. Yes or no? So it's saying I am a computer, I don't have understanding on what basis I'll decide particular activity, event or set of event is suspicious, so that I can generate an alert. You have to tell me, you have to tell the condition, right? So we can define the condition here. For example, one of the condition example, particular user is logging on the machine, Windows machine, for example, Windows machine. You login got failed. Login got failed. One event generate. This particular user login on this particular machine, this IP address from particular username 𝐓𝐫𝐚𝐢𝐧𝐢𝐴 and login got failed. Event will generate, come to the SIEM. Again, he forgot he missed, maybe he mistype. Again, he will try to log in, he may log in. Or he may not be able to, 2-3 times he will try. 2-3 times he will try. If he is still not able to log in, he will call service desk or help desk or desktop team to reset his password. He will not try 30 times, 40 times, 50 times, right? Within 1 minute, 2 minutes, he will not try. Will he try? Will you try 30 times, 40 times? No, right? Means human will not try 30 times, 40 times. Yes or no? But there might be possible that your machine is compromised. Attacker has control of your machine. Attacker might have installed some brute force software, given the username 𝐓𝐫𝐚𝐢𝐧𝐢𝐴, and trying to access this machine using brute force software, combination of username and password. One username 𝐓𝐓𝐷𝐚𝐢𝐳 and trying with multiple passwords. Every attempt means you have option to configure 1,000 attempts within 1 minute also. Software can do, human cannot do, a software can do. And every event, when this user is logging this machine, every single event is happening maybe 1,000 times within a minute. But every event is an attempt, every attempt is an event, right? Every time it will generate the logs. Login, this user had login from this machine to this machine, login got failed, login got failed, login got failed. So if you see 50 login, for example, 50 login failure, more than 50 login failure from a single user within 1 minute, 2 minutes, is this a suspicious activity or not?
Yes, yes. It is suspicious.
It can be a brute force attempt.
Yes.
It may not be successful, but it's a brute force attempt. He is working as a security analyst. I asked him to monitor such activity. If there are 50 login failure happen within 1 minute, then consider the activity suspicious, then take the action. He is monitoring. Will he able to monitor on his own? No, because logs are coming in billions. Maybe one attempt come for login failure. In below, there are so many other firewall event, IPS event, some other events. Yes or no? He could, and Windows, this particular incident is not only the incident. There are so many other alert will, there are other issues will happen with regards to firewall, with regard to proxy, with regard to email. Some phishing email came. Yes or no? There are so many other use cases. So that is one condition which is suspicious. But there are 40, 50, 60 different conditions based on the logs. So you cannot keep an eye. In this case, we can ask our SIEM, okay, this is the Windows login failure condition. Means whenever there is a login failure happen, this is the condition to detect login failure. Now, if this condition happen matches 50 times in 2 minutes, means if there are 50 logs for login failure within 2 minutes from same username, you monitor each and every event. Whenever within 1 minute if you find, within 2 minutes you find 50 login failure event in 2 minutes from any same user, for example, 𝐓𝐵𝐚𝐢𝐧𝐢𝐴, for 𝐓𝐵𝐚𝐢𝐧𝐢𝐴 50 event, then generate an alert. For other user, with the generate an alert, right? So we can write, we can tell the your SIEM in the form of condition, and this is called as aggregation. Means how many event in how much time, right? And from which field set should be same or different, right? Condition along with aggregation we call as correlation. Get in mind? This condition and aggregation we can define, will tell to the our SIEM. In case this condition matches, condition aggregation matches, generate an alert, will notify, right? So this is one condition for brute force attempt, Windows brute force. There are so many 50, 60, 70 conditions you have in a SIEM. So instead of monitoring billions of log your own, your SIEM will write certain condition of SIEM, and SIEM will monitor each and every cases on behalf of you. If any of the condition matches, means this use case matches, it will generate an alert. So instead of monitoring billions of log manually, we can monitor just 200, 300 alert in a day, right? It's good, right? We have reduced from billions to hundreds, few hundreds. Yes or no? Your SIEM is monitoring on behalf of you. SIEM correlate the condition along with the aggregation, we call as correlation. And this particular rule we call as correlation rule, or use cases you call as use cases or correlation rule, right? So you write the condition, aggregation, and then action, right? What condition, what aggregation you want, and what action has to be taken. Generate an alert on your SIM, send a notification to email, create an auto ticket. I'll tell you what is auto ticket, right? Create an auto ticket. So multiple action you can define here. The main action is generate an alert within the SIM. So people will monitor one dashboard or channel where you can see, oh, SQL injection attack, high number of denied traffic from same source, antivirus detected virus, Windows root for attempt detected, right? So different alert you will get. Then you check it out, investigate, analyze each and every alert. Get it? 95% people in this SOC, right, will be monitoring this channel, this dashboard of alert. Whenever alert will come, they'll investigate, they will check it's really suspicious or not suspicious. If it's suspicious, they will take the action, or they will assign the case incident to respective team for further action. Because you might not be having access to take all the actions. You have to respond the incident to other team for further action. That's the reason SOC team is also called as incident response team. Because they are not doing what they are doing, actually responding to the incident. That's the reason SOC team we also call as incident response team. Get it, mind? Yes.
Sir, it's a L1 or L2 process?
I will tell you a little bit L1, L2, L3 all job. So this monitoring work mostly falls under L1 job up to 1 to 3 years. But L2 also doing the monitoring activities. L3 may also doing the monitoring activities if your project is monitoring related, right? But maybe L1 is doing just monitoring. They were not having more deep dive knowledge. L1 for critical, for any big incident, they may escalate to L2. L2 may deep down because they are having more knowledge experience, right? So there are different work, onboarding the devices, logs to the SIM. There are multiple different work, right? So this is called as real-time correlation. So SIM first work you have to understand, collect the logs real-time from net device, security device, server, application, database, etc. Second is SIM also enable us real-time monitoring. Real-time monitoring means each and every logs are being monitored by SIM. Correlation is being correlated, and alerting it's being alerted, right? So can feature is real-time monitoring. SIM also enable us real-time monitoring, correlation, and alerting. And second feature, and it has become now SIEM, security information and event management. Let's write the definition. What is SIM?
Sir, incident management also regarding the SIM.
In SIM we can manage the incident.
So we have to define rules in the SIM by self.
Right. Many of the rules are coming out of the box on the SIM, right? You might have to manipulate, modify, fine tune based on your requirement, as well as many of the rules you have to write ourselves. In this class, we are going to learn also how to write the use cases.
Sir, can you differentiate between log and events?
Both are same only. See, generally log, see, people use the same word. Log is also record activity only, event is also activities, right? Some people, once it correlate, they call as event. Get it? But actually log and event is nothing but the records. Either you can use the word log, even sometime I will also use the word log, and sometime event.
So why some organizations having a SOC team and IR team? So do they differentiate the tasks?
See, it's a company. IR team means only response, only incident, only this monitoring work. IR team means only this. SOC team may not be having only IR, but having some other functionality also. That will be talking about fully in this class. IR means just some companies, they have SOC, but they differentiate. This team is IR team, this is SIR team, this is engineering team, this is implementation team, right? They may have multiple, generally service provider, which are providing services, right? They may have multiple teams. Get in mind? This IR team only will be doing the incident response. Get in mind? So different team will be having, but all falls under the same work. Different work means little. Not one team is doing all the work, but little work is done by different teams. Okay, let's write definition of SIM.
Free SIM tool any?
Your voice is not clear.
Sir, who will configure the SIM tool? Which team? I mean,
first of all, deployment will be done by implementation team. And initial configuration will be done by the implementation team. Then operations administration will be done by admin, SIEM admin.
okay. Thanks.
Admin implementation time, people are very technical people, right? Means they're already these people were already part of operations. You cannot be directly part of administrator, because in operation there are many challenges. You should be well versed and you should be understanding what are the challenges coming in. Then only you can work towards fixing those issues. Implementation or administration is not just deployment and configuration. Let's write what is SIEM. SIEM stands for.
Hello,
SIEM
sir.
stands for. Go ahead first. We write the definition first. SIEM stands for security information
event management.
Security information and event management. It is the tool. It is the tool which collects the real-time logs, which collect the real-time logs, which collect the real-time logs from network devices, security devices, servers, databases, etc. SIEM stands for security information and event management. It's a tool which collect the real-time logs from network devices, security devices, servers, application, databases, etc. Once it collect the logs, it normalize the logs. It normalize the logs. And keep the log for long time. And keeps the logs for long time. And keep the logs for long time based on organization's requirement. Based on organization's requirement. Security requirement. Organization requirement, security requirement, compliance, and forensics requirement. Compliance and forensics requirement. Everyone understand? Compliance forensic requirement, right? And it enables searching and reporting feature. And it enables us searching and reporting feature. And it enables us searching and reporting features.
Sir, which tool is highly demanding in market currently?
I will tell you next class.
All right.
Sir,
What are you telling? Enable a searching and reporting feature. Next paragraph. SIEM also enable the feature of real-time monitoring. SIEM also enable the feature of real-time monitoring, correlation, and alerting. Real-time monitoring, correlation, and alerting. Hidden? We call it real time because see, if you have three branches, for example, in US, India, and South Africa, Saudi Arabia, you will have one SIEM team because company is yours only, right? Some devices you will have in USA, SIEM is deployed in Bangalore. Within one fraction of a second, logs will travel from USA to Bangalore. Maximum latency should be 180 millisecond. Means within 180 millisecond, logs should travel from USA to India, and you should see it on your SIEM. That is the reason we call as real time. Real time is with no time, right? Written? Any confusion?
I have one question.
Yes.
Like it is collecting log from different devices like network security devices. So
Right.
will be able to identify which device log is it?
Yes,
on the
yes. What happens is, anyways, I'm going to explain in later part, but there are multiple parameters based on that we can verify. For example, Cisco Firewall, right? Whenever any device will generate the logs, they will record their vendor name, manufacturer name. Cisco Firewall, vendor name will be Cisco. Get it mean? And for example, you want to buy a bike, Bajaj bike, Bajaj is the vendor. So if you go Cisco device, Cisco vendor, Cisco is having multiple device. They have firewall, they have IP, they have router. Then you define device vendor equal to Cisco and device product is equal to Cisco router. Device product equal to switch. Device product equal to ASA. ASA is nothing but the firewall name, adaptive security appliance, right? So in the ARC side, we can identify based on the vendor name. On the SIEM mostly, we can identify based on the vendor and product. Anyways, I'm going to explain deep dive here because searching and reporting, writing correlation rules, report, dashboard, everything we are going to understand. Integration of devices, how to get those logs in your SIEM, right? Practically. So everything we will be understanding. Theoretical class. After that, few more classes will be theoretical, like architecture of your SIEM, right? What are the different component? Then integration of devices. Theoretical will understand. Then practically. Then practical will start means installing connectors. Then integrating devices, right? Theory, practical, theory, practical, theory, practical.
Are we using SIEM tool? Like, will you be getting any idea of the SIEM tool of Splunk?
Yes, Splunk also will be covered in the same training.
Okay.
So what is the
Idea.
difference between
It's not
payload
an
and
idea.
record?
It's a end of training.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Hi, sir. So I wanted to know what is the difference between payload and record?
Payload and
Record.
record is nothing but the logs, right? Payload means what is the part of data part, data packet. What command has been run, what data, actual data, right? Or command, that is called as payload.
Okay, sir. And sir, what is ICMP traffic?
ICMP is nothing but a protocol, like you have TCP UDP transport, but ICMP is the protocol, but it does not use any port. It mainly used for diagnostic traffic error. For example, you want to ping, right? Check the connectivity, right? Ping does not use any port. Otherwise, if particular port will block, ping will not be able to ping, right? You just check the connectivity. So it's ICMP. Any device send error message, it's an ICMP, right? It is an ICMP port, means ICMP protocol. So ICMP protocol is generally used for diagnostic message, alerts, errors.
So why inbound ICMP traffic is denied at the firewall?
Because inbound, maybe it's a reconnaissance activities. Means attacker is trying to check which all devices they are having, which devices are reachable, right? So this would not be allowed. So we do not want attacker to check our device detail. Sometimes they will send some some different commands on ICMP, and our machine will respond with errors, and they will understand on the error format. They will understand which device it is, which operating system it is. Yes or no? We don't want to reveal those information to the attacker. That's the reason most of the time we deny ICMP packets from outside people.
Okay, thank you.
Correct? Okay, so
Hello, sir.
yes.
Sir, is there any possible to erase or manipulate data in the firewall?
To erase the?
Erase or manipulate the data in firewall?
What data? You have to be specific. Means generally the log will be recorded. We cannot delete it in security devices. In security devices, we should not delete. We cannot delete it. In SIEM also you cannot delete. Means specific log you cannot delete. If you want, okay, 90 days, then log should be deleted for 5 days. After 5 days, after 90 days, delete log that could be deleted. But some specific log you cannot delete. One incident I have missed. Now we have violated the SLA. Let me delete this. You cannot delete any logs. You cannot delete that.
Okay, thank you.
Sir, I have one question. So
Yes.
as you mentioned that in the beginning, a 0-day attack happened. So
Right.
if none of the security devices have a signature, so the attacker can compromise a machine by
Right.
bypassing through the network, right? So is
Right.
there any alternative solution as a SOC team member to avoid the 0-day attack?
Avoid means may possible that we will get an alert once the attacker attack, right? It has not completed the whole objective. We got an alert as part of use cases alert that we created. We'll come to know and block the communication, because as soon as the activity is happening, we may get an alert, right? We may dig down what communication is happening and we can block this. SOC team is work responsibility is to minimize the impact of the compromise. One email came, it has ransomware machine infected. We came to know. We can run the report which all users have received an email. Yes or no? Before they open, we can tell them to delete the email. If they have opened it already, we can isolate from the system. So we came to know based on the logs only, right? So it does not mean that if you have SOC team, attack will not happen, but we minimize the probability of such attacks. We monitor the network, but it does not mean that you are 100% secure. It's not ideal security. Security is not ideal. It's not security is not achievable 100%.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Scanning of ports and all that is a legitimate activity is allowed.
Port scanning activities, attacker may try to scan the port, right? Maybe multiple destinations, for example, attacker want to target particular port number for particular attack. He may target multiple system and scan which port the particular port is open on particular system or not. Any system, particular port is open or not. That is called port scanning. Host scanning, it can target particular host and check multiple ports. If any port is number is open, that is called a host scanning. One target, host scanning for any port, open port. Multiple target, port constant, port scanning.
So what is use cases?
Use cases means the correlation rule that we have, correlation rule, report, dashboard that we are going to talk about in SIEM. All considered we call use cases, but 95% people understand correlation rule they call as use cases, right? So anybody interviewer asks, anyways, we are going to discuss in deep dive. That's a game of all those things only that further we are going to discuss. So all, they call, all actually a use case, but what I'm saying, but most of the people understand correlation rules are use cases. Okay, so guys, we'll end the day. We'll connect on Friday. Thank you. Thank you. Tomorrow is holiday. Tomorrow is holiday. Now we'll connect on Friday.
Okay, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.